Hello, welcome to our Facebook Live today to all of our viewers here in the audience. I see that we're catching some time zones that we don't normally have in our audience today. So we're just so glad to see you all joining us. Whether it's your first time joining us for Facebook Live or you join us for every Facebook Live that we do, we're just so glad to see you here in our audience. We do these Facebook Lives twice a week. And we've done so many over the past year and a bit, and we have a great library of Facebook Lives already available for all of you to go check out. They're on the MyHeritage Facebook page under the videos section. So we hope that you'll check them out and join us for upcoming Facebook Lives. We like to bring you new and exciting content about DNA, family history, genealogy, MyHeritage tools and features. And we're always trying to bring you new and exciting things. So if there's something that we haven't covered yet in a Facebook Live that you'd like to learn about, that you'd like to see us cover, please do let us know. Leave us a comment in the comment section, and we will try and bring that content to you on a Facebook Live. We really want to try and bring you new content, new information that'll help you out on your family history journey and your research. So please do let us know. I see Sophie says that she's joining us from England, and it's her first time joining us for Facebook Live. So thank you for joining us, Sophie. It's so great to see you here. We have Linda from Finland, Daniel from Michigan, Teresa from Mississippi. So great to see you all in our audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get into today's presentation, I'll just let you know about a DNA sale that we have going on here at MyHeritage. It's almost Father's Day in the United States. I know that not everyone is located in the States, and that's okay. This sale is available to everyone, whether it's Father's Day coming up where you live or not. And you can take advantage of this fantastic sale that we have going on MyHeritage DNA kits. So we'll put a link in the comment section, and you can all check it out and take advantage of that sale. If you've already taken a DNA test, it's a great opportunity to purchase a DNA kit for a friend or family member, and you can save it for a birthday, any occasion, or as we all know, you don't need an occasion to give someone a DNA kit. So please do check it out. We have put a comment up there with the link to that sale. So we're really excited about today's session. It's probably our youngest guest that we've ever had on a Facebook Live. And we just love seeing, all the next generations getting involved in genealogy and family history and being interested in preserving their family history and passing it on to even future generations. So it's just so amazing to see. And today we have with us a Gen Z genealogist. He is the co-founder of the Hidden Branch. It's Daniel from Daniel's Genealogy, and he's joining us from Ireland. So we are so thrilled to have him with us. And let me bring him onto the screen to say hello. One moment. Let's get him on here. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Esther. I'm not sure if you can see me.
Yeah, we can see you just fine. We can see you and hear you.
Oh, fab. So hello, everyone in the Emerald Isle. Oh, are we all?
One moment. We may be having a technical difficulty. Let's just see what we can, let's see. Oh, yeah, we can see you. We're all good.
You sure? Hello? Not sure. I hope you can see me. I mean, I can only see Esther on my screen, so hopefully it's working. So hello, everyone from the Emerald Isle. How are we all? As you can tell, this is my first live presentation, so I am not used to this. It's only been... I'm here now. It's only been my first live presentation, so this is a bit different for me, especially when I only deal with groups of 20 around. So yeah.
Not so much. It's not so much larger, and the great thing about these Facebook Lives is that we have people from all over the world. So it's a great opportunity for everyone to learn more about different ethnicities and different roots from different places in the world. So we're so excited about this one.
Yeah, and I will admit I'm a little nervous, but I mean, again, first presentation, so that's probably normal. So, shall I get started?
Sure. Before you get started, I just want to let everyone know about a giveaway that we have for today. At the end of today's presentation, we'll be giving away one MyHeritage complete plan to one lucky winner here in our audience. So we're super excited to give this away. For anyone who doesn't know, anyone who's new to MyHeritage and hasn't heard me talk about it before, the MyHeritage Complete Plan is the best plan we have to offer here on MyHeritage. It includes unlimited access to 14 billion historical records. Some of those records Daniel will be speaking about today. Some of those historical records. A complete plan also gives you access to advanced DNA tools, to all the photo tools on MyHeritage. So it is a fantastic, fantastic plan. To enter, all that you have to do is just leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know about something you've discovered in a census record. I know we'll be talking about censuses today, so just let us know if you've discovered something interesting about your family in the comments section, or leave a question for Daniel today, and you'll be entered in today's draw, and we'll be giving that away later. So we're looking forward to seeing all your comments. And without further ado, Daniel, do you want to bring up your slides and we'll get those up?
Yes, I'll try. No. I hope I do this right. That one, I hope. Hopefully you can see that.
Yep, let me just put them up, but they look perfect. Let's see. There we go.
Okay, fab. All right, let's get started.
So take it away.
So obviously, like Esther said, Gen Z genealogist, founder, head and branch, but I won't go into that because that's not what this presentation is about. So firstly, a background to the Irish census. So for Ireland, we are a little unfortunate with the way the censuses have gone over the past years, considering that we only have the 1901 and 1911 full census available online, albeit a few ones aren't microfiche or digitized. Now, sadly, we lost the 1821, 31, 41, and 51, which were destroyed in the 1922 Public Record Office fire in Dublin during the War of Independence. The 1861 and 1871 destroyed shortly after the censuses were taken, and the 1881 and 1891 were pulped during the World War One. During World War I due to the paper shortage. And sadly, we never had a 1921 Irish census because of the Irish War of Independence. And the next one that's due for release is the 1926 census, which is due for release in January 2026. So that will probably be the one that's most useful to me at the moment. But yes, and the 19... Yes, so one thing I forgot to mention, the 1821 to 51 I have down there, apart from a few survivals in certain counties. I myself have not been fortunate enough to be one of the people with ancestors in these places, but maybe one day. So, know your returns. Now, what I'm going to hopefully do is show you different census returns, and then eventually show you how to find them on the MyHeritage site as well. So I will show you ones that I've encountered in my family history, which are probably going to be the ones that you encounter anyway. So you have Form A, which is a regular household return. So that records all people living in that household on the night of the census. Form B1 and B2 kind of go together as their house of buildings return, and then return of out offices and farmsteadings. So B1 gives you details about dwellings and buildings, what kind of walls, roofs, how many rooms, windows, etc. And that can be a way of kind of finding out what kind of life or how well they might have lived, or what kind of surroundings they may have been in house-wise. And then B2 gives details of what extra buildings are attached to dwellings, so like stables, coach houses, piggeries, outhouses. Then Form N is an enumerator's return. So this gives you details of the number of houses in total on a street with occupants broken down by gender. Form also includes religious details, denominations present, so Roman Catholic, Protestant, and any other ones. And then so you have institutional and shipping forms. Now this kind of had to be a little bit separate. So it contains details about the occupants of institutions such as workhouses, barracks, colleges, orphanages, hospitals. And if sometimes, especially I've encountered this in the asylum returns, the names of the occupants are indexed in initial forms. So if you went searching for them, if you kind of say you went looking for a John Whelan, for example, you might have to look for a JW. But the only thing is you may have to have quite a lot of detail to find them if you are to confirm, right, this is my John Whelan, or anything like that. You'd need to have a good bit of detail armed. And then I touched on this previous slide, some entries are not digitized due to not being microfilmed, so therefore they are not online. And then the part 2, so as you can see, a lot of these, it may depend on where your ancestors came from or what they were involved with. So shipping return, return of sick at their own homes, return of lunatics and idiots, not in institutions, workhouse return, hospital return, college and boarding school, barrack returns of idiots and lunatics in institutions, and prison return. So in the presentation I'm going to say now, I'm going to be showing you Form A in 1901 and 1911, and Form I in 1911. So those are just going to be a few examples so you can see what each one contains. Then in the 1901 census, this was conducted 30th and 31st of March, 1901, contains details about name, surname, just the basic things really. Relation to head of household, religion, literacy, age, gender, occupation, marital status, birth location, language, and if deaf, dumb, or blind. So this is kind of going to be like the first example. I call it a case study, but call it what you may. So when we're searching for this person, Dan Farrar, he was born in 1852 in Turnina, County Waterford. So he hopefully should be maybe 48 or 49 in the census. So he was married in the 1901 census. Mary Walsh, you'll see later on in the presentation. He was living in Grattan Square, and he had a drapery shop in 1901, so I think he'll be there. And then his 1911 census return isn't digitized. So I'm going to show you the actual census. So this is my attempt at trying to snip the census and try and line it up nicely, but went not as planned. So you can see here, so Daniel Farrar, and then Morris Farrar. Morris Farrar is Daniel's son, who's my great-granduncle. So you had the head of the family as Dan, and then his son Morris, and then they had 3 like shop workers. So Roman Catholic, they can both read and write. He's 48, he's 7 years old. They're both male. Dan was a draper, he's a scholar, he's married, he's not. County Waterford is where they were born, and then Irish and English is what they speak. And they did not fall under this category afterwards. So then this is the transcription for those of you who may have had a bit of issue if you did reading it. So this is what it did turn out to say. This is not how it'll look later, because there are an awful lot of columns to try and fit in, which didn't work. So there's this, and then Morris, and then the 2 shop assistants, and then a servant. And okay, so before I go on to that, I'm going to try and show you how to search. I won't do it for everyone, but I think for one, I'd say it'd be best to try and show you how is actually can be found. So if I try and, okay, I'm going to have to redo this. Give me a second. Hello again. So if I do window. Okay, so, oh, come on. this is not what I need. Okay, well, it's a good thing I put in the actual return because I am not having the best luck. So sorry about that, everyone. I'm just going to head back to my presentation. So I'll just carry on with this. Now, I may as well just speak about it. So on the MyHeritage website, these two collections are free to search, so you don't need to pay to look at these. Now, these come from the National Archives of Ireland website, but the kind of pro for kind of looking it up in the MyHeritage one is kind of, there's a bit of a better search engine, so you can use like wildcards and things to try and hopefully find things in it. And then you can, if you kind of know a relative location, you can look it up with that. So 1911 census, conducted on the 2nd of April 1911. It contains details about the name, surname, relationship, essentially everything that was in the 1901 census, just to cut down the talking out here we do. And then the bits that are in bold, italic, and underlined, just to emphasize what's different, were in the 1911 census, which kind of makes it my preferred one to try and find, but weren't in 1901. So it tells you how many marriages, how many years the marriage has been happening for. I can't talk today. And then how many children are born alive and how many children are still living, which can also help you to try and work out how many people you manage to find to try and track down, because you're essentially giving a story back and trying to connect them back to the thing that is your family tree and remember them. So this, I said you'd see later on. Mary Farrar, that's Stan's wife, born in 1865 in Mooncoin, County Kilkenny. She should hopefully be about 46 in 1911. They married in 1892. She was institutionalized approximately 1898, so she doesn't show up in the 1901 that I can find. 1901 entry isn't digitized, like I just said without realizing. Then she was living in St. John's Hill Asylum in Waterford in 1911, and then she died in 1914 in the asylum at the age of 49. So this is her return. Hopefully you can read this. So, and hopefully you can see my mouse here as well. So M Farrar, like I said, it does kind of bring a little bit of the initial form into it. So like I said at the start, if it was like John Whelan, it'd be JW. In this case, thankfully, they put in the surname, which was Farrar. So Farrar is what she went in as. So she was Roman Catholic. She could read and write. She was 45 years old. She was a housekeeper, married. And this actually helped me find another child, this return here. So total children born alive, she had 3. I only knew about 2, my great-grandmother and her brother. And then my great-grandmother and her brother are the ones that are still alive. So I'm still trying to find the other brother, which I hopefully will at some point. So she was born in County Kilkenny in a place called Mooncoin. So if you have any Walshes around there, you may be related to me. And then where she was admitted from to the asylum was Dungarvan, which is where she lived. She can speak Irish and English. Now, it says stating kind of insanity under which each patient labors. That is actually mania. It was the one above it that said mania, but it just says ditto for her. So that's why it just says ditto. And then she had it for 13 years. And then state ascertained or presumed cause of insanity. It was hereditary. So that's that one. So that's Form I. Now, you might necessarily see that it's Form A, B1, and B2. And the enumerators that you tend to see or use or see. Oh, sorry. So this is a transcription, if you couldn't read it. So M for her, Roman Catholic, and down along. So finally, this is showing off the MyHeritage Deep Nostalgia. And for those of you who may follow me on Twitter, you would have seen that I would have done one with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, Kathleen Whelan. It's just showing off the MyHeritage Deep Nostalgia and how much it brought that photo to life, because that's the only one I have of John that I can find, and I never met my nan. So it was really nice to kind of see her moving, even if it was only for 17 seconds. So a bit of background for him. Born in 1876 in Rosslevin, Bahola. Again, if you have any Loftuses from that end, from that neck of the woods, you may be related to me. I'd love to get in touch. Should be hopefully around maybe the age of 34. That he married in March 15, 1911. He must. I always say this. He must have known the census night was coming because he got married 2 weeks before census night. So I'm very thankful for him for doing that. And then he was living in a place called Tucana. I can never pronounce that. Tucana, Mayo in 1911. And this is his. Now, I will cover some useful tips at the end of this, but at the moment, so John Loftus, he was a son-in-law. He was living with his father-in-law and wife, Michael Noon and his wife, Ellen Noon. Michael Noon and his daughter, who was John's wife, Ellen. Roman Catholic, read and write. Now, I said he was around 34. This is another thing. So when you're looking in the census, you never take the age that is given in it for gospel because it may be wrong. So keep that in mind when you're searching. So he was a farmer. That is my dad's side, essentially. Farmers as far as I can find. Married. I accidentally cut that bit out. That should say under 1. It's from his wife's part. So it says completed years of present marriage has lasted. So under 1, they had only been married for 18 days. And then they haven't had any children yet. And then Mayo, and then Irish and English as well. So born in Mayo and then speak Irish and English. That's the transcription. And then useful tips. So don't assume that ages recorded are correct. Like I said in the previous thing, ages tended to be out by a few years in some instances for different reasons. It could have been like, and especially if it's like the 1901 census, if there was someone, let's say, from maybe the 1820s or 1830s in there, and it said, they were 74 or something. Don't take that as the actual age, because the meaning of age kind of with people kind of relying on it didn't really affect them back then. It was kind of, the attitude was, oh, you didn't really need to know my age, or, I'm around the age of 75, or they may have just given an approximation. So try different variations of the person's name. They could always been mistranscribed or listed under a nickname. There was one instance I dealt with fairly recently where someone was living with their child, and it was a girl, and the transcription said that the person's name was Isaac. But upon further inspection of the census return, it was actually Grace. So mistranscriptions do happen. It's human error. So do take that into account as well. Now, in Ireland, we have these places called the Gaeltacht, which are Irish-speaking. So if an ancestor tended to lived in there, there's one in Dungarvan, I know for sure, possibly one in Galway. I'm having brain freeze, so I can't remember. So if they were living in the Gaeltacht, which is an Irish-speaking area, they could have been listed under their Irish name. And I always use this example, John Whelan. The Irish for John is Sean, and the Irish for Whelan is O'Fealon. So, and I have seen it happen when I was helping a few friends of theirs. I have seen, it wasn't their ancestor or their relative. It was someone in that same census entry who was listed under their Irish form of the name. And then the O was not always recorded. So O'Sullivan could just be Sullivan in censuses. So, and then, if I'm right, yes. So here's an Irish phrase for those of you wanting to connect with your Irish heritage and also saying that you know a bit of Irish. Déanam Ginalach Gach Law, which means I do genealogy every day. I have been able to do genealogy every day, so I can use that sentence. And then, thank you for listening. It didn't go as planned. I was hoping to be able to show it, but I've had a few technical issues. So if you have any questions that aren't answered, which I hopefully will be able to answer in this little bit that Esther will do with me in a bit, feel free to drop me a message or drop me a tweet. I'm most active on Twitter, so if you want to keep up with me, please go there. I do post on Facebook and Instagram, but Twitter is my main place. So if you have any questions or anything, please do send them my way if they aren't answered here. So, Esther, are we all good?
Yes. Oh.
I'll just stop sharing
now. Sorry about that. And thank you so much, Daniel. And we do have a few questions that I will bring up right now, and we can ask you. And if we can answer those, that would be great. So the first question I have is from Jody, and she asks, are there any hints on famine records from before 1840? Some families stayed and did not immigrate. I'm looking for those who stayed.
Oh, now one thing you may hear from me sometimes is I don't know. But okay, I'm just trying to find the question here again. Sorry, I can't seem to find it. Sorry.
No problem. Here, let me put it up on the screen there so that you can see it. There we go.
That'd be great. You might have to do that sometimes. I'm not seeing it. Oh, wait, I just saw it here in the chat. Okay, any hints on family records before 1940? Some families stayed and did not immigrate. Looking for those who stayed. So with that, there is like records before civil registration, which is 1864, is essentially parish records. Now, there may be workhouse records somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So sorry, that's probably not the answer you're expecting. But if you send it to me, I can try and share it with others, and I can try and help you get an answer.
Great. Here's a question that we have from Leslie, and she asks, what is the best way to research our families that left Ireland because of the potato famine?
Okay, so I guess in a sense you need to so if my history is telling me right, trying to remember everything, they either would have gone to, let's say, England, especially kind of ones that had a port, so maybe Liverpool, or they would have emigrated to the US. And also there may have been a chance that they may have died on the voyage as well. But that would have been recorded, let's say if it was Ellis Island, it would have been recorded on the records for Ellis Island in New York. So, I mean, I guess try any avenue, just try any possibility. I mean, on a bit of an off topic, I was trying to find my great grandparents because they weren't in the 1911 census, either of them. I just tried something in the sense that just tried finding them in New York, and later did I know that they got married in New York and Brooklyn.
Wow.
And annoyingly, my great-grandmother immigrated in 1910, but literally got in a day or two after the 1910 US Census was done. So unfortunately, she didn't make it. But yeah, I mean, try anything. I know it's a general answer, but try anything. You never know what you might turn up.
Okay. Catherine asks, how can we translate their name to the Irish-speaking name?
Okay, well, there'll be plenty of stuff online for this, but like Sean is John, Moira, M-A Father I-R-E is Mary, and then I'm just trying to think of any other ones. Like I guarantee it, there'll be plenty of material online for like Irish translation of English names, and it mightn't happen as much as you think, but that may be the reason why you might necessarily be able to find it in the census.
Okay. Kathy asks, how long did it take for you to find all this info? and I'm going to actually add on to that question from Kathy and ask you what your most interesting find is. What do you think the most interesting thing that you found was? Okay, well, to answer Kathy's bit first, well, this was actually meant to be a St. Patrick's Day presentation, only with me being a very busy student, it didn't
it wasn't really convenient for me to do it then. So that was around March time when I heard about that I was going to be doing this. So I mean, I've been tipping away at it over the few months since. And most interesting find, I'd say it was kind of, you know, trying to find. Okay, it won't really sound interesting, but it was kind of like a brick wall for me. My great grandfather, Pax Whelan, who was the son-in-law of Dan and Mary, who I covered in the presentation. They were he lost his mother in 1899 when he was about 8 or 9. So he didn't have kind of much of a parental figure. His father was still around, but from what I can only find, he died in 1929, yet I can't find him in 1911. I'm still trying to find it. So in 1901, he was a plumber, which sounds interesting. And then in 1911, his 3 sons, Edmund, Michael, and Patrick, Pax is his nickname, but they were kind of living on their own. So I found it interesting that the 3 of them kind of moved out and they weren't kind of living with the parents. And I know that might sound a bit weird, kind of thinking, well, they're adults, they can move out. But I found one where a daughter was kind of in their 30s and they were still living with their parent. So, I mean, I thought it was interesting, but that's just me.
Yeah, and I loved what you said earlier. I think that a lot of people can relate to when you said you were lucky that they got married just 2 weeks before the census. And I think that, you know, that's something that we can all relate to when we talk about census records, is that a lot of it is just luck. You know, are they included in that census, or did you only get a view of them 10 years down the line? And I think that that's what genealogy is all about, I guess, luck and just being able to find the right information with the right details. So so I definitely related to that, and I think a lot of people in our audience for sure did as well.
Sorry, Esther, just a thought in there. Sorry, I just saw Leslie's follow-up. Sorry, Leslie, I just saw your bit in now. I meant in Ireland. They came to the USA, but I can't find them in Ireland. My info is based on people as to where they from. So, I mean, I guess if you can try and work out kind of where they came from, and like if you go to johngrenham.com and if you type in the surname, it might, if it doesn't give you a specific place as to where they came from and anything, like if on the census of the US it said Ireland, I mean, you may be able to get a rough idea as to where they came from, and then you may just have to try and go down all avenues from there. Sorry for only seeing that now and probably not for understanding your question the first time. Yeah.
Okay, and we received just so many fantastic comments throughout this Facebook Live. And before we get to our winner of today's MyHeritage Complete Plan, I'll just read out a couple of the entries that we received, just some nice ones. I see Linda wrote here, I found out my grandmother's name wasn't Esther or Essie, it was Abby Estelle from her birth certificate. So that's really a great discovery. Dawn said, I discovered my grandmother's name was Lillian Del McJimsey, not Della McJimsey. So I guess often, you know people by nicknames, and it could be like that for generations, and then you never really knew what their first name was without those nicknames. So that's definitely something that we can find out in census records.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, another thing is, if they were like Patrick on the birth cert, they might be, you know, Pat spelt with 1 T or 2 T's, like their name might have been shortened. There's that as well. And then, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example on the spot. There was one, I think I remember, I mean, I think it was like a grandaunt of mine or something. We always kind of knew her by Delia, but no matter how hard I tried finding her in anything, her real name's actually Bridget Agnes. So Bridget is another version of Delia. So that's another thing. Try other variants of names if they aren't showing up with the one that you anticipated them. with.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. I see. Let's see. Chris wrote, I found my greats and family in a gold mining township after being told I wouldn't find them because of the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco. So that's yeah, a lot of really fantastic discoveries here, comments that were left from Census Records. So, and I'm sure that everyone now will take Daniel will take all your advice and your and bring it back to Irish Census Records on MyHeritage. So thank you so much. And we'd like to do the giveaway now to one special winner. They get a MyHeritage Complete plan, the best plan we have to offer at MyHeritage. So we're really thrilled to be able to give this away. And our winner today is Marnie Watkins. And Marnie wrote to us and she said, I found out that my great-great-grandfather was a brick maker in Essex and made some of the bricks for Buckingham Palace. So that's really an incredible census discovery, Marnie, and a great one. Congratulations. We hope that a MyHeritage Complete plan will help you continue that research and discover even more incredible things about your family and where they come from. So we'll be in touch with you through private message to claim your prize. So now, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today. You wouldn't be able to tell this was your first online presentation at all.
Oh, I think you kind of would have noticed. But yeah, if anyone has any questions I didn't answer, please direct them to me. I'll try and answer them if I can.
And we'll put a link to your site as well in the comment section so everyone can check that out. Thank you so much for joining us. To everyone in our audience, thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you all at our next Facebook Live. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.